Hello Instagrammers and YouTubers alike, welcome back to Retro Direction. My name's Michael and welcome to this new review. This is the time of Ridge Racer on the PlayStation, and we're going to have a look at one of the games that, let's say, made the PlayStation and brought it upon us like a big, massive, shining, dazzling light. There you go. I don't know how else to describe it, but this game came upon us and just astounded the world. Anyway, let's move on to the, the true characteristics of it. Now, first of all, Ridge Racer is a racing game. It was developed by Namco and released into the arcades, I think, sometime around 1995, and then ultimately converted onto the PlayStation. So, first of all, you've got several cars to choose from. Fictional cars, I might add. They're not real, they're just all pretend. Now, at the start of the game, if you don't complete the little mini shooting game at the beginning, you only get to select 4 cars. If you do blast all of the aliens in that mini game before the title screen, you've got a further 8 cars to choose from. So you've got 12 vehicles, plus you've got the secret car that you unlock and that you race against. I won't spoil too much, although I doubt very much that there are gamers out there that haven't played Ridge Racer in one form or another. And the other characteristic about it is that Ridge Racer has only one track. Yep, and you might think, one track? Now, how could that possibly work? Now, yeah, we all ask the same question, especially when it was released onto the PlayStation. The thing is, it is one main track, but it's a very big track, but it has different variations through it. Now, the original Ridge Racer only has 2 variations, whereas subsequent sequels had more. But so this is the beginner section, and as you can see, I already completed that one. But then you've got the mid-level one, which is the same, but the vehicles go a bit quicker. And the high-level one has got a little bit added on. As you can see, as soon as it spins round, there you go. There's a little bit of extra here. So there's a few extra kilometers to sort of navigate, and you cut through a different part of the city where it's more industrial before joining up with the main stretch, which goes through the skyscrapers again. So anyway, the Ridge Racer tracks are mainly urban. So they're set in the fictional Ridge City. And they've got lots of twists and turns and uphills, downhills and hairpins. So basically they are a true test of driving skills. Fortunately, they only need to be arcadey driving skills. There's no simulation aspects here, which is good because I'm not good at simulations. But anyway, let's select a car. Let's choose the basic one. Now, this is a good all-rounder. As you can see on the bottom right of the screen, it's got the various stats. So handling, acceleration, traction and speed, they're all sort of evenly matched. So it doesn't excel anywhere, but it's a good starter vehicle. This one is the one that excels mainly in handling and traction. So this one's designed not to drift so much. So you don't need to do a hell of a lot of drifting to master this one. The others don't have very good handling, so you need to really focus on your drifting skills here. But let's start with the first one, and let's go on to the beginner's track, just to give you a taster. So in we go. Now, I know it looks a bit dated now, but I'm sure those older gamers among you will remember this fondly, as I do. Now, as far as conversions go, this is actually really good because it's almost arcade perfect. Now, when I say almost, now, of course, it was converted from an arcade machine that was worth, many thousands of pounds. So the arcade machine itself ran at about 60 frames a second, and it had a rear view mirror. And the graphics were, of course, a much higher resolution compared to these ones on the PlayStation. But regardless of that fact, this one runs at 30 frames and it's still very smooth. So the gameplay is pretty much the same as you remember it. So if you play the arcade version, which I did, you'll find that if you use like a steering wheel with it, it plays pretty much the same. It's not bad at all. And the graphics are nice and colourful. and there's not any slowdown at all. It doesn't have hardly any graphical glitches to speak of. I think the Japanese version had a little bit of slowdown when you sort of approached the last stretch of it, or I think there was a slight jump and there was a helicopter hovering. It would slow down a little bit, but not noticeably so, but that was ironed out for the PAL version. Now unfortunately I only have the UK versions of this, so the vehicles are going to appear a little bit squished. But don't worry, as soon as I can manage to find any of these on import, I'm going to snap them up, because I would rather have full screen, full speed. But anyway, as far as conversions go, I think these aren't optimized badly at all. So you do get a good sensation of speed. Now onto the music. The soundtrack is amazing. First of all, it's all techno. And I think for racing games like this, techno is the way to go. It suits it perfectly. They're very upbeat, happy sounding tracks, and they just go with the, let's say, the vibe. They go with the setting. They go with what the game's trying to convey. And I think you need, you know, high-end quality techno tracks to sort of bring this game forth, I think. Right, now the other thing, the other very nice particular about Ridge Racer tracks is that they have a day and night cycle. And yeah, I've just finished racing here. Yeah, just listen to this mad commentator. He is insane. Right, I didn't win there, but that doesn't matter because I was only like showcasing it. But we're going to go on to the other section of track now. And for that one, we'll use the other car. Yeah, so basically, there is a day and night cycle. So basically, you start by racing during the daytime, and as the race goes on, it ends up being sunset and ultimately nightfall. So the cityscape around you lights up, and it's really quite beautiful. Now, played on a proper CRT TV and not the LCD, which is what I'm playing it on, the game actually looks better. But it's, you know, I think for the purposes of the video for YouTube, it's not bad. Now, somebody very kindly commented and suggested I get a video capture card, and I am going to. I just need to become more tech savvy and learn how to use it. But I think once I move with the times, I'm sure my videos will get a lot better. But in the meantime, just enjoy. Just enjoy this old school gamer's old school methods. You know what they say, old is better. Yeah, the mad commentator. Now, as you can see, the time of day is changing here, so it's becoming sunset. And soon it'll be nightfall, and you can see the city in all its glory at nighttime. And there's one thing I really love is nighttime cityscapes. One day I would love to go to Tokyo. Ouch. And I've got pictures of Tokyo at night on my computer, on my phone. I just absolutely love a nighttime futuristic cityscape. Kind of like Blade Runner. Cyberpunk. That's the word. I'm a bit of a cyberpunk. Anyway, besides bashing from wall to wall, this is just to show you the extra section of track. And of course to show you the nighttime setting. As soon as we approach the skyscrapers, you'll see exactly what I mean. It's really quite breathtaking. Or at least it was back then. There you go. Now there's a minor amount of pop-up. The clever thing about the Ridge Racer tracks is that it was hidden very well because of the different bends and turns and curves. You know, pop-up was masked extremely well. But there you have it. Now, Ridge Racer is one of those games that you use to show off your machine to your friends. So, you know, when it was first released and your friends hadn't yet bought one and you wanted to show off what your machine could do, I think the two games to do it are Ridge Racer and, of course, Tekken. The original Tekken, when that came out, that was actually quite state-of-the-art. Now, when this came out, I only had a Saturn. There's the helicopter, and no slowdown, as you can see. Yes, I did have a Sega Saturn to start with, and of course I wanted it because I saw Virtua Fighter in the arcades and I was quite blown away, and I really had to play that. And I didn't realise what Sony was going to release to the world. And of course when I went to Computer Exchange and I'd already bought my Saturn, I was going to get some more games for it. And they were previewing the original Tekken and Ridge Racer, and I thought, oh, have I bought the wrong machine? And I mean, now that I look back, I think perhaps I should have bought the PlayStation first. But then again, it may have influenced my buying a Saturn, because I do truly love my Saturn. It's got some cracking games on it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But you remember the old adverts when the PS1 was first released? You had this geeky guy with glasses advertising. I think they showed very quick snippets of Toshinden and said, never underestimate the power of PlayStation. Well, he had a point. I think if you compare the two machines, the PlayStation was the one that I think showed its power early on, and so obviously it was the cooler machine to go out and buy, because you had this brilliantly texture mapped Tekken and, you know, Ridge Racer, while the Saturn only had Virtua Fighter, which wasn't really even arcade perfect, and it had a few glitches here and there, and then it had Daytona USA, which suffered from the pop-up. But nevertheless, those titles are still superb anyway. I mean, Daytona plays exactly the way it does in the arcades, and Virtua Fighter is still unmatched for its depth, first of all, and the fact that it's a very technical game. But we will touch on those in later reviews. But in the meantime, get a load of this. Now this is me racing crap here. Now the time of day has changed again. Anyway, the war as to which console is better still rages on to this very day. There are still, I mean, I still chat to fanboys that say, yeah, Tekken's better. And when you ask them why, they say, because it is. And then you know you're talking to a fanboy. But anyway, we will touch on the differences between the two machines in future reviews. Now, I don't usually announce what I'm going to review next, but it will be Tekken, I think. We'll go on to the original Tekken game, because I think that's worth a mention. As I think, you know, it was sort of released more or less together with Ridge Racer, so they like walked hand in hand in astounding the world with what this little grey machine could do. But anyway, that was Ridge Racer for you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. It is a slightly shorter one compared to the others, but it's just that there isn't very much more you can say about Ridge Racer. Well, okay, perhaps maybe there's one little thing. I'll tell you what we'll do. While you're all watching, I'm going to do something really special. Stay tuned. I'm going to pause this video and I'm going to see if it works, and I'm going to get something out that is very interesting. Now don't get the wrong idea, it's still a game, okay? Okay, so unpaused. Now I hope that's worked. I've never done that before, but there you go. Now, okay, now I'll tell you just very briefly about this little menu here that you're seeing. Now this is the Explorer. It's a very, very rare cheat cartridge that plugged into the back of only certain PlayStations which had the particular port that accepted it. Now, this is what I use to cheat. If a game's too tough, or just, you know, for fun, I will cycle through the hundreds of cheats I've got here. Now you can also add to them as well. You can still find Explorer codes somewhere on the internet, so you can still find them. But anyway, now what we're going to try is Ridge Racer Revolution. I'm just going to show you just briefly how that one runs and the differences between the two. So we haven't got long left for the video. I've only got about 23 minutes of recording time. So we've got just over 10 minutes left, but I suppose I can show you a quickie about Ridge Racer Revolution. Now, like the original Ridge Racer, you've got to blast all these aliens in order to unlock the other cars. But I've unlocked them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So we'll bypass that. And we'll go to Others, Records, and we'll load the game. There you are. Load data, okay. Right, now Ridge Racer Revolution was the sequel to Ridge Racer. It was never released in the arcades. This one was a PlayStation only release. And now there are a lot of improvements here, mainly the graphics. And so we'll do that. You'll go to Select. Now the tracks are as follows. Again, one main track with 3 variations, all different from each other. And then when you complete the first 3, as a reward, you get to race the same 3 variations in reverse. Now, you do that in the original Ridge Racer as well. So you could say that in a way it totals the track roster up until 6. Anyway, there we are. That's the second one, which is slightly bigger. And the big one, which is this one here. But we'll do the original one for now. Race. Now the same cars you have here. Now I've unlocked them all because I've blasted all those aliens. So you got that one from the original Ridge Racer, this one, and yeah, these first 4 cars. In fact, they all come from the original Ridge Racer, to be honest with you. There you go. And I always tend to use this one here. Now this is more than a good all-rounder. This is a pretty good car to actually race. So we'll do that. So basically, Ridge Racer Revolution is quite an improvement. You got the same mad commentator for a start. Now the track is a little bit different. As you can see, the cars themselves are bigger. The roads are wider. And you've got a bit more eye candy here. As you can see, it's kind of a tropical oceanside cityscape here. And again, the same old techno music, but with a few different tunes added. And some very iconic landmarks in the tracks as well, which is really interesting. Now the drifting is different here. I think we had some different developers actually working on it. I mean, it's still Namco, but there were some different programmers, which I think the drifting suffered a bit because it's not quite as, let's say, user-friendly as the original game, but nevertheless it's still absolutely fantastic. You can master it. It's just I've not done it now. I haven't played it for a while. But again, you're racing through another cityscape. You do have day and night cycles. And you can actually unlock the day and night cycles once you complete certain requirements and you finish the game and you've unlocked all the track variations in the cars. You can select what time of day you race at. But there you go. Now, Ridge Racer Revolution was the only game to feature a link-up. So if you had 2 PlayStations, 2 copies of the game and a link-up cable, this game is absolutely superb in 2-player. I played it at Computer Exchange when I first bought it with one of the members of staff there. Of course he thrashed me because he ate and drank Ridge Racer Revolution for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And he had it for midnight snacks as well. So this guy was really good. His name is Ash. Won't forget him. Very good Ridge Racer player. But there you go. That's Ridge Racer Revolution for you. So the improvements are mainly graphical. The handling, in my opinion, has suffered a little bit. But I think for Ridge Racer fans, it's still good. The music is great. The gameplay is great. Right, there you have it. So I think that's about all we've got time for, but I do hope you've enjoyed these. And like I did mention earlier, I don't usually announce what I'm going to review next. But because we're talking Namco and Ridge Racer, the next one to come I think will be Tekken, because it does deserve to be reviewed. So stay tuned, and Tekken will be coming up on my next review very, very shortly. Ciao, ciao!